Did you enjoy Pixels?
Part of it.
I thought it wasn't that bad. It was very cliche and weird,
Yeah.
but fun.
There were some really good moments, and then there were some supremely dumb moments.
Yes. I thought the one thing I liked, and I think this is purely due to Chris Columbus, it wasn't too Adam Sandler-y.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't filled with his whole ensemble. Like, there's no, what's that guy's name? Schneider? Roy
Yeah.
Schneider? Rob Schneider?
Rob Schneider, yeah.
There was no Rob Schneider cameo, and I was like, ooh, this is already working better.
Yeah.
You know? There's no, like, weird little snide David Spade bit, you know?
Yeah. I do
'Cause-
like David Spade, but yeah.
You do like David Spade.
He's funny.
Is he?
Sure, yeah.
Interesting.
Brr.
I'm actually sweating on this end. This hoodie is thick. But yeah, what a cold open, my God. Nothing makes a cold open colder than explaining how cold the cold open was. Am I
So
right?
cold.
Yeah, I can see
Brr.
your breath.
Now I'm just vaping.
This is From Justin to Kane, a podcast where Mike Robertson and Bob LaRue watch one critically acclaimed film and one terrible film and talk about how they are the same.
Yeah, welcome everybody to From Justin to Kane. I'm Mike, and this is Bob.
Just picture that, but every word he just said, there's huge plumes of smoke emanating from his facial orifice.
And I'm high as hell.
That's right. Yeah. What are the two movies we're doing this week? Even though it says on the title of this episode, which I've come to realize.
Yeah. So this
fuck
movie, this podcast is about Mad Max Fury Road, which came out in 2015.
Really?
That's correct. Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. They both came out in 2015.
Oh, is that when Pixels came out?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Samesies.
I forgot. Samesies. Yeah. Definitely. They both have a 2015 energy for sure.
I don't know what that means, but I like it.
You know how some years just kind of like have a vibe?
Yeah.
Like think about 2011. It's got a vibe, you know?
Yeah. I was only 6 years old, so I wasn't too aware.
You were 6 years old in 2011?
I'm joking. No, I was like 15 or something. Still young.
Still young, yeah. Too
Yeah.
young.
Yeah, I'm still young. I'm a crisp 24.
Nice,
Anyways.
nice.
Yeah, Pixels, Mad Max Fury Road, both came out in 2015. Both visual effects feasts, I would say, as well.
Truly. There's a
Yeah.
samey right there.
I think that's a big old samey.
It's that big honkin' samey for sure.
And both of them weren't shot in the United States of America.
Where was Pixels shot?
Toronto.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
For 3 months.
Fury Road was not filmed in Australia.
Filmed in somewhere in Africa.
It was filmed in Namibia.
Love Namibia. Wow, that's
There's
kind
a-
of hard to say.
There's
It's hard to
there's-
not stutter when you say Namibia.
Yeah, which is wild. You never see giraffes. You never see any honey badgers.
That's true. Honey
You'd
badger
never
don't
know.
give a shit. You ever see that video?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The Billy Eichner video? Fuck, that's good stuff.
Was that Billy Eichner?
It's Billy Eichner, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just thought it was some guy.
No, it's Billy Eichner.
Was that his like star-making turn?
I think it was early, yeah, for him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because he did a lot of stuff on the web, right? Early
Yeah,
on.
right.
The real web guy. Anywho,
Any of us could be the next Billy Eichner if we tried hard enough.
you know what? I can't do this podcast. I got to go do some stuff.
This podcast could, for whatever reason, almost 2 years in, take off. And we could be like huge podcast stars, you know?
Wow. Really?
Yeah, if you were like, you know what, I'm just going to try and put out a YouTube video every day, you could be a big YouTuber one day.
It's just, for me, it's the workload. Just seems insurmountable and crushing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, to be like, you know what, I'm going to react to something.
I'm going to react to this episode.
We should do reaction videos of our own podcast.
Just this really insular, like narcissistic umbrella company that just makes subsidiary content, but all related to this podcast.
Yeah.
There's like a review show of the podcast. And then, reaction videos on YouTube.
I mean, if we put the work in, actually, it would really help us.
I guess, hey?
But we're not doing that stuff. We're not making reaction videos to our own podcast.
Who are we kidding? We're not those people.
No, I know. That's what's stopping us is that we're not up our own ass in that way.
Yeah. We're up at our own ass in other ways.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm up in my own ass all the time. Anywho, all right, let's talk about Mad Max Fury Road first. Speaking of...
Very well.
I got nothing. Okay.
So Mad Max Fury Road is the fourth film in the Mad Max franchise. Directed by George Miller, who has made all of the other ones. And also, you might know him from such movies as Happy Feet.
Babe.
And Babe, Pig in the City.
Yeah. He's really good at kids' films.
But have you seen Babe, Pig in the City?
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's weird, but it's good.
Yeah, it's really good, but it's a bit strange. Like, it's like, oh yeah, you can see the Mad Max kind of vibe.
Wouldn't you say that about Happy Feet in a way?
I haven't seen Happy Feet.
Oh man, you should watch it. It's a banger. You love tap dance, famously.
Well, I love to tap dance, yeah.
Yeah, your sweatshirt says "Lovin' to Tap,"
and I love Pangu.
Yes, you do. You do love Pangu. Honestly, Happy Feet, for lack of a better term, fucks. So I would definitely recommend that to any grown-ass adult.
Okay, maybe I'll watch it.
Sweet.
Yeah, George Miller came up with the idea for Fury Road in 1987.
Wow.
So, and then...
The year of our Lord.
He started developing it around 1998.
Also the year of our Lord.
Yeah, so good 17 years. So he'd been sitting on the movie for almost 30 years, which is a long time.
Yeah.
And then he almost 20 years in development. He was going to try and shoot it around 2001. You'll never guess what happened.
It fell through.
Well, 9/11 happened.
Oh, 9/11 put a hold on production?
Supposedly, that's what...
It fucking came out with another episode of Friends.
I think it's because the Australian dollar imploded.
Oh, I see.
I'm not sure how all that works. Australia had nothing to do with it, but
I don't understand that either. But
I guess the American dollar sucked.
I guess there's an economic blip.
Yeah,
maybe Warner Brothers panicked because that was Warner Brothers then and now, right?
Mm-hmm. So he held on to the movie again.
Mm-hmm.
And then was going to make it in 2007.
And then?
After Happy Feet.
Yes.
But then he decided he would start filming it in 2011. So it was delayed several more times.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally in July of 2012, they started filming it. 1987 to July 2012 was this movie was kind of up in the air a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And then they finished... shooting in December of that year, and then they did some reshoots the following November, and then the film was released in May of 2015. So
I remember going to it.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, what a great film!
I saw it in 3D also, it was a good movie to do in 3D.
I saw it in 3D, and I also did a bunch of edibles right before going in, and it was intense.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And so George Miller was apparently he came up with the idea when he was walking through a busy intersection in Los Angeles. He kind of was inspired by just the traffic in LA, am I right? And he kind of
Who is that for? That am I right? Let's be specific.
Just
your intonation was weird. You brushed right over it. It's well, that was clearly meant for somebody.
People who live in LA, I guess, who are annoyed by the traffic.
Right. Okay.
I think it's something we can all relate to, the traffic in LA, I mean.
Am I right?
Yeah. So the idea he kind of came up with was they're not fighting for oil, but they're fighting for human beings. That being the wives.
Blood bags. Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. And also water, I guess, on some level. Well, a prescient film.
He has the aquifer. So it's like there is no shortage of water. It's just allocated in a very dystopian way.
Yeah, exactly. That's what isn't that what it's going to be like eventually anyway? Aren't we kind of slowly doing that with Nestle and whatnot?
I guess so, yeah.
So Mel Gibson, I don't know if you know this, was in the other Mad Max films.
I do know this.
Yeah. And Miller decided not to recast him because of his racist rants.
Yes. And maybe age was part of it too.
Also, age was part of it too. Because previous to all that stuff with Mel Gibson, he was going to be in it. And then they even toyed with doing an animated version of it. So Gibson could be potentially in the film while old, but I guess the racist rants kind of really like clinched it for him.
Right.
So yeah, it almost was an animated film.
Can really go both ways. The racist stuff either gets you work or it loses you work, but it's so hard to know until you do it, until you just take the leap of faith.
Well, yeah, I know that some people their careers have to take a wild turn once they say stuff like that. Like they have to basically just only be in conservative driven stuff, like things that appeal to.
Well, he was nominated for like best director not that long ago, wasn't he? Like 2018 or some shit.
For what?
Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge, that's right.
Yeah, 2016. He was nominated, I think.
So there you go.
He hasn't directed very much, but what he has directed, my goodness. Braveheart, The Passion of the Christ, Apocalypto, Hacksaw Ridge. Passion of the Christ Resurrection is in pre-production. How does that work?
Well, do you know the story of Jesus?
Yeah, but let's not get into it.
So wait, just hold on a second. So Jesus is crucified.
Yes.
And then he is resurrected?
Yeah, he comes back 3 days later.
But then what happens? How does he die then?
Well, no one knows.
They never tell you.
No one's ever seen it.
The movie?
No, the story.
Oh.
It's like, he's coming back this time, and then he doesn't. It's like, well.
Well, he's supposed to, if he gets resurrected 3 days later on Easter or whatever, coming up, how does he die after that? Because he's not around. They never explore that.
I think
we know that he died from crucifixion.
Evaporates.
Okay. So he's resurrected, and then what does he do? What does he do?
Disapparates? What's the Harry Potter term?
Disparates or?
It's disapparate or something stupid. I don't know. I can't remember. Can you tell I'm still reading Harry Potter books?
Because you are a noted transphobe?
I was just going to say a noted TERF in the community.
Yeah, maybe that's the word to use.
I just love, what is it called? Young fiction?
Young adult fiction?
Young adult fiction, you know? I just love magic, okay, Mike? God.
So Tom Hardy took the role of Mad Max.
Yes.
A young Mad Max. But other people who were supposed to play Mad Max, Armie Hammer, noted cannibal. Jeremy Renner, noted weird app haver.
Jeremy Renner is untouchable. He's a solid guy.
He's a strange man.
He is cool. I like
Michael Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender, famously huge cock.
Sure, yeah. Michael Fassbender and Tom Hardy, I sometimes get confused with each other. Joel Kinnaman.
I don't know who that is.
If you saw a picture of him, you'd be like, oh yeah, that guy. Heath Ledger was supposed to be in it.
Wow.
Eric Bana.
Yeah, weird. It's a little too old, maybe.
And then also Eminem, Marshall Mathers himself.
I was really hoping you're just going to throw something crazy in there, like, and Wesley Snipes. Just something fun.
And Will Smith.
That's good. Well, when I looked up Mel Gibson on IMDb, huge image of King Richard popped up on a Crave advertisement.
They still want us to see this movie, I guess.
Yeah. Well, they changed. No, I'm not going to go there. Anyways, all right, continue.
So, George Miller meticulously storyboarded the film, hired many storyboard artists, and had 3,500 panels by the end of that process. And the movie pretty much stuck to the storyboard.
Yeah.
So that's what I heard. Pretty cool.
Did you know that George Miller was an ER doctor before he made his first film?
I did not know that.
Yeah, kind of crazy. He was a full surgeon.
So they started filming it in 2012 in Namibia, in Dorob National Park. They also filmed in Cape Town, and they had built 155 vehicles, supposedly, for the movie as early as 2001. And then they held on to, I think, 88 of them. And some of the ones that kind of didn't make it, they still used to smash, apparently. And the most prominent vehicle in the movie, the war rig that Charlize Theron's character drives.
Yeah.
Apparently, they combined a Tatra 815 with a Chevrolet Fleetmaster, and then they fused a Volkswagen Beetle to it, and then they modded it a bunch of times on top of that. So I don't know what a Tatra 815 is, but crazy that they just kind of like mashed a bunch of cars together. And that was somebody's job.
You know what I find unrealistic about this film?
Oh, go on.
Because it restarts the timeline, in a sense.
In a sense, yeah.
The sort of smorgasbord of vehicles that have been retrofitted should be like Priuses and minivans, but instead they're just cool 50s cars, which doesn't make any sense. It's like, no, we got to find all these vintage cars and retrofit them and leave all these other lame looking cars. It's like, what about my Nissan Flex? And it's like, I don't give a shit about your Nissan Flex. I'm taking this 55 Chevy Impala and putting monster truck wheels on it. It's like, where'd you get that Chevy Impala? The year is 2045, and it's like, I found it. Screw you. And it's like, what? This doesn't make any sense. It's like, yeah, I'm driving a Model T with big old racing wheels on it and a V8. And then there's one guy with a Prius, retrofitted Prius, and he's like, man, I'm still getting great mileage. And they're like, shut up. That's not the point. If you don't look cool, get out of here.
It's a Prius mashed up with a PT Cruiser.
Full wood paneling. That's the shit right there. And then a Jeep top, like chuck a little Jeep top on there.
Yeah.
That's great.
Love it.
I think the film would have been very different if they had gone that direction, which would have been way more realistic, but also maybe less cinematic. I don't know.
So cinematographer John Seal shot the movie, and he retired 5 years earlier.
Wow. They brought him back, hey?
They brought him back, and then he has retired since then and is coming out of retirement once more.
For the new
another George Miller movie.
Oh.
So George Miller is working on a film right now called
Babe in the Small Town?
3,000 Years of Longing.
Okay.
Which stars Idris Elba, Tilda Swinton, et al.
What's it about?
Who knows?
3,000 Years of Longing.
I'm to understand that there's 3,000 years of longing involved.
Well, so he was planning a trilogy, was he not, of new Mad Max films? But there's a bunch of legality lawsuit bullshit with Warner Brothers, so he just fucking pulled the plug, didn't he?
Well, he was supposed to make a movie called The Wasteland, which was the sequel to this, which was in development since this movie came out, and that got embroiled in some legal trouble. So right now they're working on a prequel called Furiosa, which has Anya Taylor-Joy, I believe.
Yeah.
Playing the young
Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron's character.
Yeah.
And so there's that. John Seal, the cinematographer, look at a picture of him. Yeah, he just looks like an Australian guy.
Yeah, he's pretty, nothing crazy about him, but he's a great shooter.
Yeah, but his
Very
face
talented.
is as Australian as it gets. Like, if you're just like, what does an old Australian man look like? You're like, oh, yeah, that's it.
There he is. Yeah, now I got to look him up just for fun.
He didn't film the other Mad Max movies, so.
No, it was
he kind of I hadn't heard of most of the movies he worked on. Oh, he shot Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Holy shit. He shot a bunch of good shit,
yeah, I was looking at the wrong list.
Witness, English Patient, bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
He's talented.
Yeah. City of Angels, talented Mr. Ripley.
The Perfect Storm.
Spanglish with The Sandman.
Gorillas in the Mist. Rain Man.
Classic.
Dead Poet Society. Lorenzo Zoil. These are all very famous 90s films. The 90s treated him well.
Apparently in Mad Max Fury Road, 90% of the special effects were practical.
They say that, but...
watching the special effects making up for this movie is very cool because you get to see what stuff was real, what stuff was faked.
Yeah.
And they do a pretty good job of mixing practical and CGI in a way that you would never be able to tell.
Mm-hmm.
And they had over 150 stunt performers in this film. Some of them from Cirque du Soleil.
Oh.
So, you
The
know,
pole
clowns in both movies.
Ugh. Clones.
There's a lot of frame rate manipulation in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Cinematographer, what's his putz? John Seal says about 60% of the movie is not running at 24 frames a second. So 40% of the movie is about 24 frames a second. The rest is all over the place.
Yeah.
Because sometimes George Miller, if stuff was too chaotic, he would slow the film down a little bit, or he'd speed it up. So there's a lot of parts where like the frame rate's kind of like jerking around in a really like animated way, and it actually kind of adds to the film's vibe quite a bit.
And the aesthetic, like even when he's running through the hallway, like when he first gets captured and stuff, and it's like, ooh, like they're ramping a lot of it, so it's like there's less frames per second, and it's fun to watch.
It is fun. A quote from the sound designer of the film said that they kind of viewed the war rig, the big truck thing that they drive, as like a Moby Dick for Immortan Joe, who was kind of like Captain Ahab of the film. So he was always just trying to get the truck as if it was his white whale. So they added a bunch of animal-like whale-esque sounds to the sound design. There's a bunch of parts where they shoot harpoons at it. And so they use the sound of like whale blowholes for when like all the milk comes out.
You love that scene, hey? And the sounds. You love a good froth.
Love a good froth sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then they use bear growls for when like the war rig finally gets destroyed. Mm-hmm. So kind of interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's some artistic sound design.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there you go. That's about it.
Nice.
I mean, there's so much to learn about this movie, but I talked for, I don't know, a long time. So
I don't have nearly as much to talk about, which I think
I know
is
Pixels,
fine.
There's probably not a lot. It's like based on a short film. The Sandman got his friends together. It went well.
Yeah.
Seems like they shot in Toronto.
Honestly, nothing else needs to be said. But I will say a little fun fact, because Chris Columbus made this film, and he is basically responsible for the Harry Potter film franchise. He's the one who went to J.K. Rowling and persuaded her to get the books adapted and turn it into a film franchise.
Good for him.
Yeah, because his kids were loving it. Anyways, and he directed the first and second film. Mm-hmm. John Seal shot the second film. So both of these directors have worked with the
he shot the first one.
DP. John Seal did?
Yeah.
No, I don't think he did.
He shot The Philosopher's Stone. Chamber of Secrets is the second one. You call yourself a Potterhead?
No, okay, so he shot the first one.
Yeah,
not the second one.
Hold on a second. Yeah. Okay, so my sorting hat is saying you're a Hufflepuff.
Anyways, yeah, sorry, the Sorcerer's Stone. So he shot the first one, not the second one.
Hufflepuff.
3,000 Years of Longing, post-production. Yeah, John Seal's working. Anyway, so that's kind
Have
of a
you
fun
ever
thing.
been to the Pottermore website?
No. Well, I don't know what that is.
It's like a web site that is Harry Potter based. And it's kind of like a big, exciting thing where you can, I don't know, look at Harry Potter stuff. I don't really know what's on there.
Sounds riveting.
The exciting part about it is, and by exciting, I mean, your mileage may vary, I guess, but you can get your Patronus.
Oh,
so
really?
You log in and you put in some sort of information about yourself, and then I'll tell you what your Patronus is. Mine's like a deer or something boring.
A stag.
Yeah, I think it might have been a stag, and then it also tells you your house.
Really?
It'll sort you, and then it'll give you your Patronus. So
I'm loving Harry Potter, loving the whole world. I don't give a shit about that stuff. Like, I don't need it to relate to me. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't need to drink butterbeer. That sounds fucking gross. But I love reading about, they got to sneak around and Hogsmeade or whatever, just like fun shit like that. But I don't need it to come back to me.
And you love how the bankers are rendered, like the goblin bankers. You love
every time we talk about this. You talk about how this could be anti-Semitic. Like,
could be.
You're like, I don't know, man. The goblins, like, is it something anti-Semitic? I don't know. You tell me. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't care.
You love that Dobby is enslaved. You love the slavery aspect.
Well, he's only enslaved in the second book, and then he's out.
Yeah, but he was still enslaved.
But there's Winky.
Slavery exists
I just met
magical
Winky
world.
in the fourth book, and she is enslaved. Poor gal.
So I was listening to a podcast. This is a bit of a tangent. So I was listening to a podcast called Stop Podcasting Yourself. Very famous podcast.
Oh, great podcast. Yeah.
It's a great podcast. They actually were talking about Harry Potter on a recent episode, and they brought up an interesting point about just like,
how anti-Semitic it is.
Why does Slytherin exist? Like, because they know that it's the house where the bad guys go. So it's like, why do they still keep it around if it's just, they know they're inviting bad guys into the school? And it's like, that is a good point.
But, I mean, yeah, it's mostly a dramatic engine, but you could make an argument that good people come out of it too, right? Like, Severus Snape is a good guy.
Yeah.
You know, Christ, like, Harry Potter names one of his kids after Snape. And then James Potter made fun of him at Hogwarts in the
yes, of course,
60s or whenever.
It's very silly that they have. If you get into Slytherin, probably makes you question: am I a bad guy? Am I a baddie?
Well, Harry Potter almost went into Slytherin, and then the Sorting Hat heard Harry Potter's request and obliged him.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
So Harry Potter was like, "Not Slytherin, not Slytherin." And he's like, but you have all the traits of a Slytherin member, and that's because he has shared traits with some of the sort of more like, well, Tom Riddle, I guess.
Before was Tom Riddle went Slytherin?
Bad. Yeah, he was.
Of course he was.
That's Voldemort.
Yeah. You don't have to tell me who Tom Riddle is.
I don't know what I forget which house Sirius Black was in, but I bet you maybe it was Slytherin. But the other thing too, it's so inherently cliquey because you would just become friends with the people in your house because you all sleep in the same damn room and you got a little co-ed like shared area with nice seating, and it's like obviously I'm gonna be friends with these people. And the Slytherin house is like underground in a dank dungeon, which sucks.
Yeah. Pop quiz.
Yeah.
What's the name of Hermione's cat in like the second book?
Oh man, I can never remember. It's like Hedwig. No, that's the owl. I can't remember. I literally, I was thinking this the other day because I finished the second book and I was like, how come I can't ever remember the fucking name of that cat?
Crookshanks.
Crookshanks. I can never remember.
Who, believe it or not, was ended up in the Harry Potter franchise because he was kicked out of the movie Cats.
I'm just going to let that live out there for a minute.
Crookshanks is a magical cat.
I think the character I identify the most with, actually my Letterboxd profile photo is of him, is Argus Filch.
Yeah, right.
I fucking love that guy. I love the actor. He's such a weird looking dude, but he's so good. He's so unlikable. Mm-hmm. After all the carnage in the film franchise, everything's done. My boy Voldemort dies, you know. He who shall not be named is no more a problem. And you just see Argus Filch in the background sweeping a giant brick that's fallen. Mm-hmm. I'm like, this fucking guy has the worst life ever. Man, oh man. And he's always just picking enemies with people. It's just fun. It's fun. But so anti-Semitic. I don't know. It's just crazy. I love Harry Potter.
Also, one more thing.
Just gonna say it. Oh, yeah.
Disney adults, freaking annoying.
I just learned about Disney adults.
Yeah, but you know what's even more annoying than Disney adults?
Oh, what?
Harry Potter adults.
I'm not a Harry Potter adult.
I encountered one in my travels a couple of years ago, and boy howdy.
Was it unpleasant?
It was insufferable, yeah. He was talking to me about Hagrid and stuff, and I was like,
oh, fuck that.
I don't care about any of this stuff.
I gotta put you on pause. There's a bug I have to kill. Hold on 1 second. I hate how when it's warm in Edmonton for like 12 minutes, there's just bugs.
Yeah.
Takes no time at all. It's like, oh, look, the spiders came out, and there's just like little creepy crawlies. Like 12 minutes. It doesn't take long, and it's like, oh my God, there's a mosquito, and it just spirals.
Have you seen those big kind of like water beetles?
Yes.
They're creepy.
They're gross. I just killed a beetle. That's what that was. On my windowsill. It was yucky. So I crushed it. Anyway, so what I was saying about Hagrid is I think he's such an interesting character because of what he represents. Did you see what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm a Harry Potter adult.
Yeah, you're a Harry Potter.
I learned about Disney adults or whatever, and just terrible. I'm not a Harry Potter one because I'm just reading the books and it'll be out of my system. It's not all I talk about.
You're just there to pick up the dog whistle messages.
You rat bastard. So yeah, directed by Chris Columbus, who has not made many films as a director. He's written a lot of films, but his directing roster is kind of nuts.
Yeah, Home Alone.
Well, yeah, so you got Home Alone, Home Alone 2, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Right.
The first 2 Harry Potter films, Rent, which tanked, lol. And then you can see him stabbing at a few other things. Like he tried to turn Percy Jackson into a film franchise, which didn't really work. Pixels didn't work. But he's got a pretty sterling career. But his writing, what did he write? He wrote Gremlins, The Goonies, Young Sherlock.
Oh, wow.
Goonies 2, Gremlins 2, Gremlins Unleashed. Oh, these are video games. Oh, they're making a new Goonies.
Finally.
Exciting.
People are clamoring.
Anyways, so he took this film because he felt that it sort of referenced or it brought him back to the Amblin days. And Amblin is Steven Spielberg's production company, which made a lot of child-friendly films like E.T.
Correct.
So, yeah. But anyways, a funny story. So it's based off of a short film, which I have not seen, of the same name. The guy who made that wrote the first draft, which the studio hated, and then he and Adam Sandler got together, and they added the idea was, well, let's put Kevin James in it. Let's make him the president. That's all they said. And they reformatted the whole script, and then that's the script that ended up in Christopher Columbus's lap, and he was like, yes, please. Great stuff. So anyways, I don't really understand what he saw in the script. Maybe he was just looking to make a movie, but he loved it. It spoke to him. He felt it was deeply original. I just think it's funny that it's like, oh man, I just think we need Kevin James in this movie. Let's make him the United States president. And then they did, and it's so dumb.
Kevin James, he's a big star though.
At the time.
At the time, yeah. So it makes sense.
He was on the mall cop trajectory, was he not?
Yeah, around then, I think.
Yeah. So the film is starring, I guess it was co-produced by 1492 Pictures, which is Christopher Columbus's company, and Happy Madison Productions, which is the Sandler gang. Starring Adam Sandler, Kevin James, Josh Gad, Peter Dinklage, Michelle Monaghan, Brian Cox, Ashley Benson, Sean Bean, and Jane Krakowski. A couple of Game of Thrones people in this, which is kind of fun.
Couple, yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't have anything to do with anything, but fun. The reviews of this film were almost entirely unfavorable, but the film made $244 million and an additional $15 million in home purchases on a budget of somewhere between $90 and $120 million.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, so it made its money and it basically doubled.
I think Fury Road's budget was like $180 million. And it made a worldwide total of $375, and still was considered not a flop, but didn't make the expectations they were expecting.
Didn't make enough.
Which is wild that they can make, a third of $1 billion and be like, not good enough.
Well, they're looking for the $1 billion though, like a Frozen kind of thing. Also, I never realized that Pac-Man's eyes were just Pac-Man in profile.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, did you notice that?
No, I never did.
I didn't notice it until he had like a close-up in the movie, and I was like, God damn, look at that.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's kind of fun. That's a fun design choice.
Yeah. So games included Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Arkanoid, Galaga, Centipede, not the humankind, and Donkey Kong, amongst many other games. A lot of games. They were all licensed for the movie.
And Smurfs for some reason.
Smurfs aren't in it.
Yeah, they shoot a Smurf, and it's like, why is there a Smurf?
There's a Smurf in the movie?
Yeah, they shoot the Smurf just so they can say, I can't believe I shot a Smurf.
Oh.
But it's like the Smurf.
Well, because Smurf was probably coming out at that time with Neil Patrick Harris. And it's probably a Sony picture, so they had the rights already.
But yeah, I guess so. But why was it in the movie? Because it's not a video game.
Hey, don't ask questions with answers you don't want to hear, Mike.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. God. Anyways, with the release of this film, they did make like a bundle of all the games that you could buy and play. And they did like a circuit of like, not Comic Cons, but like nerd cons, but video game related. Anywho.
Not wizard cons?
I don't know, man. This is I'm not some weird incel. I don't really know anything about this stuff. But so this is neither here nor there, but I thought it was kind of funny. So Columbia Pictures hired Entura International, which is like a entertainment legal firm, which sent out cease and desist to anything on the internet with the word pixels in the title, because they just like did a weird carpet bomb, and they shut down the original, across Vimeo, YouTube, that kind of thing. And they shut down a bunch of unrelated things that would like either have pixels in the title or were about pixels. But none of them had anything to do with the film or games. And it also gave a cease and desist to the original short film, which was like a non-copyright public domain thing on the internet.
Right.
Which is super funny. And then basically every single one of them fell apart. So they spent all this money trying to protect the movie and ended up achieving nothing, which is kind of a hilarious, weird move.
Great stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I guess the movie is written by two people, and both their names are Tim. Which I know people love little fun facts like that.
One of them is Tim Harley, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a famous SNL writer. Yeah.
That's how I know Sandler, I guess, eh?
Yeah, he was like from the old
writer,
old kind of
The Wedding Singer, The Waterboy, Big Daddy, Little Nicky, Mr. Deeds, Bedtime Stories, Grown Ups 2, Pixels, The Ridiculous Six, Hubie Halloween. Crazy. He's also acted in a few of these films.
And his son is also on SNL now.
Oh, Please Don't Destroy. Yeah. Cool. See? You learn so much. And John Higgins is also in it. Wow, nepotism works, hey?
Well, yeah, you'd think that it's not nepotism. I assume that there's an element to it.
It is.
But they are funny, those guys, though.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. It's just infinitely easier for them. It's like, hey, Dad, I'm really funny. Can we just grab drinks with Lauren? It's like, sure. And Lauren's like, I like you. Let's do this. That sounded more like Snape, didn't it?
Yeah.
Anyways, that's cool.
So let's talk samesies then.
Yes.
So we already talked about
the year of our Lord 2015. The year of our Lord 2015.
Both. There's a lot of special effects in both. There is the directors also have done children's films.
To great acclaim.
Yeah, to great acclaim. So Happy Feet and Harry Potter.
Yeah.
A movie and franchise for children. I'll remind you.
Mm-hmm.
It's for kids.
I hate you.
Go on.
They both have a fun cameo. The guy who made Pac-Man, and also the guy who plays Immortan Joe is in one of the earlier Mad Max films.
Oh yeah,
as in what's the second one called? Mad Max Thunder Road?
No, Road Warrior. Yeah,
Road
Mad Max,
Warrior.
the Road Warrior. Yeah,
Road Warrior. Yeah, that's what it is. So, anyways, they both have kind of fun cameos.
I haven't seen any Mad Max movie except for Fury Road.
They are not good.
Okay.
They do not hold up. I'm so thankful that it took 38 years for him to make this one, because this one it works. Also, Mel Gibson sucks in them. Super. And this is not to slam Australians, but everyone's Australian. Mel Gibson is Australian, and it just immediately lowers the stakes.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't care about this. It's like watching Taika Waititi try to be dramatic, and it just doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Okay. And then the bad guys in these movies are like, oh no, Mad Max is he?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, no, that doesn't work.
Because we call it Mad Max, but they call it mid-mix.
There's a reason nobody has an Australian accent, even though there's a bunch of Australian actors. It's like, oh man, British people sound more intense. Let's do British.
Both movies have retro callbacks to the 80s.
Yes.
That being Pixels has got a lot of 80s callbacks because of video game stuff.
Yeah.
Mad Max referencing its old movies just by being a Mad Max film. There you go.
I guess I want to second that by saying they both have previous IP that sort of relates but doesn't relate to the current time, because it's like pretty vague as to when and how this Mad Max ties into the other ones, or if it's just a relaunch of the franchise. And with Pixels, it's like it's a mashup of different games, and they are related but also not related to like what's going on which is that the Earth is being attacked by aliens,
Yeah.
aka Independence Day 2, more independence today.
And a week later, I watched Galaxy Quest, which is pretty much the exact same plot.
That's a fun film. I haven't seen that in so long. Again,
It's good. It holds up.
My boy Snape is in that film.
That's right. Alan Rickman is in that
Alan
one, yeah.
Rickman. Have you ever seen that guy's lower teeth?
Yeah.
It's like staring into a shark's mouth. It's crazy, man. Holy fuck.
You know who also has kind of teeth like that?
Who?
Will Ferrell.
Does he have bad lower teeth?
He does, if you look at them, yeah.
I love bad teeth. I think they look and they're so fun.
Yeah.
But Alan Rickman, I listened to this interview. It was like a retrospective on his life. And he kept like thinking, and he would like lower his lower lip. And I was like, wow, are those real? They look like nails.
Well, he's British.
Yeah, exactly. I love that though. It's nice.
But in both movies, there are characters who have nicknames.
Yes.
So in Pixels, one of the characters is like Ludlow, the Wonder Kid Lamonsoff, which is Josh Gad's character.
Mm-hmm.
And in every character in Mad Max has like a weird name. So, but some of the wives have funny names. One of them is Toast the Knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Like her name is Toast and she is the Knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of them is named Cheeto, the Fragile.
Right.
So we got the Knowing, the Fragile, the Wonder Kid. A lot of similarities here.
Very fun. Very, very fun. Both involve vehicular pursuit and catastrophe.
Correct, yes.
I thought the Mini Cooper scene was... the whole movie's unrealistic, but I'm like, these guys, can they drive stick? Can they drive this well? I had a hard time buying in.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought everything else. Like, even how sloppy it was when she's like, she just explained how they made their, like, light ray guns to kill the alien characters. And I was like, wow, that is some sloppy screenwriting. Just, like, explain it away so that you can get on with the movie. But I was like, that's fine. I'll take it. But then, the driving thing. I was like, I don't believe this for a second. Adam Sandler probably doesn't even have a fucking driver's license.
No, he does.
I doubt it. He doesn't seem like a guy who can drive real good.
But good samesy there, though.
Thank you.
Both of the movies feature a ragtag group of heroes, kind of assembled out of necessity, who are fighting a kind of like ape-like boss, Donkey Kong.
Did you say Donkey Kong?
Donkey Kong, yeah. And there's like sexism at play as well.
Yes.
And in that, Immortan Joe basically needs to have all these wives and then like milks them and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is kind of twisted. And then like just the sexism in Pixels is kind of overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
There's one female
both
character.
films are like really intensely anti-Semitic as well, which I think is like a Christopher Columbus like through line.
Yeah, and it's something that appeals to you.
Speaks to me. I don't know what it is. I'm a huge fan of
Potter.
Chris Columbus's work. Anyways, yeah, that's a good one. I like that. Yeah, misogyny's ever present. I feel like Adam Sandler films are just inherently misogynistic.
Yeah, because it starts off fine, and then as soon as Adam Sandler's character meets Michelle Monaghan's character, and they start talking, he just starts kind of being weird, and he's like a Best Buy employee.
Yeah, he's like a Geek Squad install guy.
Yeah, but he's just like so blatantly sexist to her. And then Josh Gad's character also has that trophy wife character, like that video game thing that he's obsessed with.
How weird is it? Because at the end, that whatever that video game character just changes into her. Hubert? Cubert?
Yeah, Cubert.
Cubert just turns into that like Amazonian like game character, and then he kisses her, and I'm like, this is so funny to think about and really unpack. It's not necessary to like really think about it, but it's interesting.
Yeah, because
then you're like, man, like, what is sexual orientation? What is gender? Does this alien species even like reproduce? Is it all like what's the like not asexual reproduction? Oh, maybe it is. You know, like how bacteria can like produce itself without needing to mate and stuff. I was like, it's so weird. This is just like opens a whole can of worms to really just like spiral out of.
It is weird. It's twisted. Twisted.
It's fun. It's fun.
Speaking of Cubert, In both
Yes.
movies, the bad guy joins the good side
You're right.
because Kubert is technically an alien and he's a bad guy and he joins the good guy's side. And then in Mad Max, there's a character named Nux, played by what's his face?
Nicholas Hoult.
Nicholas Hoult, who kind of defects.
Yeah.
So he's the kind of the Kubert. And then Mad Max has sex with them. And then they kind of has like a weird chrome baby, similar to how Pixels ends, where they have Kubert human babies. Yeah.
Both performance or both have lead male performances that are very steely, very cold, not warm. And it's not because Adam Sandler is actually, they're both great actors. It's just by virtue of the work itself that they need to, have these like very cold, almost bad performances.
Yeah.
But it works well within the context of their films.
It's weird because Pixels does a bad job right off the top with the characterization of Adam Sandler's character because they set him up as a bit of a loser in contrast to his friend who's the president.
Yeah.
He's like a loser who's working for the Geek Squad at Best Buy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then also Adam Sandler plays him so cool.
Yeah.
Like he really acts so cool and like,
well, I think the point is like, well, that he is so cool.
What is this guy?
I think the point was that he is so cool but has a lame job. Whereas Kevin James isn't cool, but has an amazing job.
But I think that they are giving him that job to kind of take him down a few pegs. But then Adam Sandler plays against that the whole time. So it's kind of confusing what they're going for.
Yeah.
But they need him to be a love interest. But I guess, what? There's a lot of things that don't make sense about this. So I guess I shouldn't worry too much about it.
Yeah, don't get into the weeds because let me tell you, you're not going to learn anything.
Them weeds be dumb.
Both films really just deal with like global catastrophe.
Yeah.
And obviously like Mad Max is post-world catastrophe, but the new world catastrophe is that you like piss off a Morton Joe and it's like, oh, we don't have water anymore or whatever.
Yeah.
And with Pixels, it's like the global catastrophe is on the brink of happening, but also surely during these games, people are dying left, right, and center.
Yeah.
Like when the centipede, not the humankind, is like running around, hitting people, like just pixelating people and obliterating them.
Yeah. That's good.
I love, I don't know, just saying centipedes, not the humankind is so good.
Sorry,
I'll never forget that joke you did where you like sent me that film, but you edited the first 10 minutes of Human Centipede off the top and you didn't say anything. Oh, you bastard.
So those are the samesies.
Yeah, quite a few. I like that yours, you kind of hit a couple themes that are like quite similar. Like it's interesting that it's like, oh, one of the antagonists joins the good guys, stuff like that really shares the DNA.
Well, they're the same movie.
Well, yeah, they are. I think you play them side by side. You know how there's like Psycho, Gus Van Sant's Psycho and Alfred, and it's just the same shots? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You put these two movies side by side, same shit. Different runtime.
Yeah, different runtime.
Same shot for shot.
Actually, probably very similar runtime.
I think so. I want to
Pixels
say
is too long.
Mad Max is 2 hours and 2 minutes. It's like really crisp. They crammed a lot into the 2 hours. But Pixels is like an hour and 40 maybe.
Yeah, I think it is an hour 46.
Almost the same runtime.
I read an interview with Judd Apatow, and he talks about how
movies are too short.
People complain about how his movies are too long, but then he's like, well, I like to let my movies breathe. And then anytime I get notes on the length, I always just kind of resist that. And he's like, buddy, you got to not resist that. The movies are too long.
Yeah, they're way too long. Oh my God. I've been eyeing up This Is 40 for like weeks. And I'm just like, that's a long movie though. I don't know if I can do it.
Don't watch it.
Well, I remember it being terrible when I saw it in theaters.
Yeah, don't watch it. It's bad.
Yeah, and then, but I don't know, somebody brought it up like a few weeks ago, and they're like, no, it's funny, and I was like, oh man, maybe I gotta give it another shot.
Judd Apatow.
Is it a hack?
No, I wasn't gonna say that.
Here are two fucking hacks. Here's my hot take. Terrence Malick and Judd Apatow, they can both take a shit on each other.
Judd Apatow used to be Adam Sandler's roommate.
Really?
In New York, yeah, when they were both young, before pre-SNL. But then also, I actually think Judd Apatow has been a net positive for Hollywood. However, because he has produced a lot of cool stuff.
Name
kind of
9
he's
things.
kept the studio comedy kind of afloat, essentially. Not single-handedly, but like
you would say that.
he's a big part of that, I would say. Like, well, Bridesmaids, huge hit. Pop Star, not a huge hit at all, but a great movie. Love that movie.
King of Staten Island.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. But there's... I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either. I hate Pete Davidson with all of my being.
Yeah, in terms of movie Judd Apatow has directed, I think the only good one, Walk Hard. Hot take.
Not 40-Year-Old Virgin?
No, I watched it recently. It's bad.
Yeah, I also watched it recently, and I was like, this is not as funny as I recall.
It's not that funny. It's way too long.
Mm-hmm.
It looks kind of like garbage.
Yes.
I think it's been a long time since I saw Knocked Up. That was actually probably pretty good. Maybe it holds up.
Katherine Hagel, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. Katherine Hagel, no thanks. Katherine Bagel?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Merci beaucoup, because you're in Montreal.
Walk Hard, very funny.
Yeah.
This is 40. Woof. Too long.
Yeah.
Funny People?
Funny People, I thought started out good and fell apart.
Yeah, it's like way too long, and it's two movies kind of mashed together.
Yeah. I was so intrigued off the top, and then it just slowly devolved into such a shitty fucking movie.
Yeah, it got really bad really, really fast, but the first half was interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I agree. I agree with all of these.
Yeah.
You would say that.
I would say that, but yeah, studio comedies do not need to be longer than an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's
Pixels, you can feel it too.
Yeah.
You can feel the length sometimes, or you can just feel the pace in some scenes, like just slow to a crawl.
Yeah, that's true. And it's poor writing. I mean,
yeah.
I do think a lot of SNL folks, too, try to transition in a feature film, and it's different.
Yeah.
Writing a feature film versus a sketch is so fundamentally different. And you have to change your mindset if you're going to like do one over the other, because you really can't use the same principles for either.
But Billy Madison is a tight 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And tells a full story, has some great set pieces, musical sequence, lots of running gags, lots of good stuff. Happy Gilmore, hour and 33 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Big Daddy, hour and 34 minutes. Oh, look, it's climbing.
Judd said we could add 3 minutes to every film.
Well, yeah, it seems to be that way. I wouldn't be surprised if you looked at the running times for every Adam Sandler movie.
It's just 3, like an extra 5
and they just kind
minutes.
of are slowly just getting longer and longer. And it's like, oh, that's why these movies aren't good anymore.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Well, I mean, so we've compared these films.
Funny People wasn't
the same.
Oh, sorry. Funny People was an hour and 146 minutes.
Yeah, so it was well over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Oh my God, almost two and a half hours.
Jack and Jill, though, a tight 91.
Right. Also terrible.
Yeah, we got to watch that one day.
Yeah. I mean,
only for the Al Pacino stuff.
I love just listening to Adam Sandler talk, so I'm down anytime you are.
When he talks like that, you mean?
Yes. I think that was just a Jane Goodall audio tape from when she was in the jungle with monkeys.
Gorillas in the Mist.
Yes, that's right. Shot by John Seale.
That's right. 8 Crazy Nights, a tight 76 minutes. Not even 80 minutes.
Didn't even get up to 80 minutes. I think, do people feel cheated when a film is less than 90 minutes and they paid $13.50 to see it in the theater?
I don't know. I feel like no.
I don't, but I feel like some people might. Or people just don't think about runtime.
Yeah, I don't know. I think nowadays movies are too long, and that's an old person take, but that I have.
Yeah.
But it's true, I think. The movies are too long.
But what about films that just need to breathe, man?
I don't know. I feel like a comedy doesn't need to breathe.
Not necessarily.
Because, I mean, the thing about...
Bridesmaids is over 2 hours.
Probably, and it's probably a little too long.
You are a cruel, cruel connoisseur of film.
The thing about This is 40, I remember watching it and being disturbed by how much improv was in it.
Mm-hmm.
The improv was so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But they thought it was good, so they kept it and made it that long.
Yep.
Anyway, you should watch that movie again.
I'm not going to. You've talked me out of it. You talked me off the ledge.
Okay.
The Judd ledge.
Thoughts on these films?
Yeah, thoughts on these films. How do we feel?
Love Mad Max Fury Road.
Me too. It holds up. I've seen it like 8 times.
Yeah, it's so
I saw
good.
it super baked in 2015. Loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it like a week ago. Loved it. Amazing.
Pixels, not as bad as it
Could have been.
could have been.
It could have been worse. It could
Not
have
the
been
best
worse.
Adam Sandler movie, but not the worst. Kind of fun
Mm-hmm.
with a video game thing.
I like. It was very. And I'm gonna say this. I know. Playful.
It was a bit playful, yeah.
Yeah, like it was never too heavy, you know, and it was like, oh, I kind of dig that. Like
Yeah.
the other weird thing about it is it feels like a kid's movie, but it's not, and there's a bunch of drinking in it.
Yeah.
So it's like, is this a kid's film? Like, who? Like I couldn't figure out the demographic, but obviously it's just for everybody because it made a bunch of money.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not for kids because kids have no frame of reference for those video games.
but just watching Kevin James and Adam Sandler shoot laser guns at centipedes from the sky, not the humankind. It just feels like a childish film. Like this is for children to educate them about the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Chris Columbus, you know, that's his vibe, man. It reminded him of Amblin, bro.
Say the thing.
This feels over.
Nice.
This feels super over now. What are next week's movies, Mike? Or next 2 weeks' movies?
So next week's movies is the Indian epic film Bahubali: The Beginning, also from 2015.
Ooh.
And the 1994 action film starring Sylvester Stallone and
Sharon Stone and James Woods.
and James Woods called The Specialist,
Yes.
which is supposed to be enjoyably bad.
Oh, man, it's a good time. You're going to love it.
Okay. So that's what we're watching. So you can, Bahubali's on Netflix in Canada, at least. I know that.
They both are.
Oh, they both are. So there you
Yeah,
go.
they're both on Netflix.
So there you go.
Yeah. So watch them, and then we'll talk about how they're the same.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Okay. Well, we did it, Mike.
We did it. We're heroes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.